rapidly outpacing the institutional readiness. And when audit bandwidth, procurement leverage, and all of these things are a bit constrained in these environments, responsible AI might fail in some predictable ways. I would like to welcome Dr. Goswami to just start with about where does the machinery actually break between when statute is notified and it actually changing institutional behavior? And what is the weakest link in India's AI governance framework right now, especially considering that your experience is a lot around tech policy and even legislation? So over to you.
Thanks very much. And nice, interesting, provocative question, right, for the last session of the day. So I think let's break this in the 5 minutes that I have into 3 buckets. We'll talk about what the institutional design is, talk a little bit about capacity, and then we'll talk about some other factors. So the institutional design, if you look at where we are in India today, it's very fragmented. There's no overarching horizontal AI law at all. And that is a little by design, because the government has not wanted to go that direction. So is that in and of itself bad? It's not in and of itself bad, because if you look at the spectrum of different countries in the global south, some have gone for those overarching laws. You see Brazil going in that direction. There are plenty of countries that have gone the other direction. The issue with that is you have to then have a whole of government coordination, because we have regulators on the one side, we have an IT Act with rules. Some of you will be familiar with what came out on the 10th of February on synthetically generated information. And you have other things going on, right? So how do you coordinate that? The principal scientific advisor in the Prime Minister's office says that there's going to be a structure. Let's hope that works, right? The second part is, if the design is that by design, it's very light touch on regulatory enforcement. That is a theme that has been there ever since the country moved forward on the Data Protection Board. That is not a heavy-handed regulator. Now you're seeing the same thing emerging on AI. Are we going to have an EU AI office? No. I mean, we're looking at an AI safety institute of some type as part of this structure. Now you may say that maybe this is a lesson learnt, right, out of failures that we've had in the past under the IT Act. But there are other problems that arise out of that, because if you have heavy compliance burdens on market players and inadequate capacity on regulatory enforcement, you'll have an issue. The last part, and I think the most serious on design, frankly, is we have a top-down regulatory structure. We do not have co-regulation. So what I mean by that is, when you've got something as fast-moving as AI, if everything is dependent on a top-down regulation and you don't have industry standards as the first line of defense, then you're going to have issues around that. So there are definitely challenges in the very design. The second challenge, though, is on capacity. Now, why is capacity important? Well, if you're going to impose a 3-hour, 3-day, whatever limit you're going to on market players, famously in the SGI rule, okay, but do you have the capacity then to verify that? How are you going to do that? Do you have the GPU capacity? Do you have the ability to run that kind of verification process? Because if you don't, then you're depending just on good faith, right? So that's a serious capacity challenge. Last part is other factors. So if we are going to manage both the opportunity and the risk, we have to be clear as to where liabilities lie. At the moment in the life cycle, between developers, deployers, and users, that's not clear. That's something that we have to come to. If we do it too much, we're going to strangle innovation. If we do it too little and not in the right place, we're going to end up with risks and harms. So we have to settle those things. Last point is this. We say, global south and all that. Not everything about AI is to do with the technology itself. What about the back end of it? When you create e-waste of the type that we're going to when you have AI, do we have a green blind spot? I think we probably do in terms of the way in which we manage waste. So I think there are some significant challenges around this. Some things which, is work in progress. And I think hopefully if all of you kind of contribute to how this is going to get better, as a collective enterprise, we're going to do better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Goswami. That was very interesting. I would like to move to Mr. Arora from MasterCard.